So today we're going to be covering 10 cars at price points from $11,000 to $20,000. But to make it interesting, every single car is going to be mid-engine design.
Coming is strong, we grind. Trust that we're aligned. Faith in the quality find. We rise and intertwine.
Yo, what is good, children of the covenant? Welcome back. I'm using this new mic I got. I have a Rode mic on the way, so that's going to be a lot better than this. I'm just hoping that this is a little better than the previous audio quality you guys have been given. If not, I sincerely apologize. Number one. Okay, so you've probably smelled this coming from a mile away if you're familiar with cheap mid-engine cars at all. This car has been used countless times by kit cars and people that want to make fake Lambos and stuff like that. And of course, you already know I'm talking about the Pontiac Fiero. However, this Pontiac Fiero is probably one that you haven't heard of before. It's the 1987 Pontiac Fiero GT. This one actually had a 4.6 liter V8 mounted in the mid-engine layout, so it delivered the power to the rear wheels and a 5-speed manual transmission. And sorry, I thought I turned off my mic. And this car is really, really cool because it makes 220 horsepower from that supercharged V8. I think it's kind of crazy that you can get an American mid-engine supercharged V8 sports car with a manual transmission for $11,000. Now it's going to take a little bit of looking to find a GT with a supercharged V8, but they do exist and they're possible. I'm not sure if they exist in any other years, but I do know they exist in 1987. So it's going to be a little bit of a look, but here's a few that I found. All right, moving on to number two. It's time for a little bit of Italian zest. Now, when you think of an Italian cheap mid-engine sports car, you probably think directly to what I'm about to tell you about. And yes, it's a Fiat, but it's probably not the Fiat you're expecting. I'm talking about the Fiat X1/9. Now, the Fiat X1/9 has a baby little 1.5 horsepower engine pumping out about 75 cute little horsepower to the rear wheels with its mid-engine design. It's also got a 5-speed manual transmission. However, I think that this Fiat looks actually really good for a Fiat from the 70s. And I think you'd be a fool to sleep on it just because it doesn't have any power. That said, I don't think I'd buy it just because it's got such an underwhelming amount of power. But, I mean, it's an Italian mid-engine sports car. You can't really get that at any other price range. Like, 12K is hard to beat. At the 13K spot, we have a car that everyone and their mom is familiar with. I almost didn't want to put it on this list because that Toyota MR2, that's right, has been mentioned on every single car list to date. Everyone talks about the MR2, and because of that, hype is making these cars go up and up and up. But that's also in your favor. Excuse me. Because that means that these cars are going to be a lot more valuable, potentially, if you buy one now and hang on to it and don't absolutely clap it out like a foolish vaping, weed smoking teenager. I think these cars have a lot of potential to go up in value, but they're also really fun cars. They're made by Toyota, mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, manual transmission, pop-up headlights. It's really hard to go wrong with them, and they're such a cool car. I understand the hype. This is a car that I can get behind. If we're only 13K still, that's relatively cheap for what you're getting. It's not by any means a supercar, but it is still an extremely cool car. Coming at 14K, kind of hard to find them in this range, and you're also going to hate me for the fact that this car is, it's kind of a stretch to call it mid-engine, to say the least. I'm just going to say it. It's the C6 Corvette. And I know you're immediately thinking that, no, that's not a mid-engine sports car, blah, blah, blah. That's an American muscle car. And technically, you're right. Technically, it is American muscle. But also, at the same time, the engine is behind the front axle, making the front mid-engine layout. Technically. No one on earth is going to recognize that you have a mid-engine sports car because it's a Corvette. But I own a C5 Corvette, which has this exact same engine placement, and it honestly handles like a dream. It's kind of like driving an American Aston Martin. That's really the best way to look at it. But for 14K, you're not looking at an automatic transmission. You're probably not even looking at one that's that clean. You're going to have dinks and chips in the paint. The interior is going to be falling apart. It's going to be high mileage. But you're going to get a 6-liter, 400 horsepower V8 that is, oh, so timeless in design. Though, in my opinion, the C5 Corvette looks better in every single angle except the back. The back of the C6 is so sexy. It is unbelievably hot. I cannot get over it. It looks like a Ferrari from the back. I gotta say, I do. Honestly, and if done right, you change out the hood, change out the lights, it can straight up look like a Batmobile more than a C5 ever could. But I have a soft spot for the C5 because I own one. Anyway, I'm gonna get off my Corvette hype because I'm sounding like a 50-year-old man the more and more I talk about it. So number 15. This is a really really fun one on my previous list. Which, if you have not seen the $1 through $10,000 um, cool cars that idealists will not talk about, I'm going to link that at the end of the video, so you should definitely head over there if you're enjoying this video. But in that previous video, I mentioned the 987 Boxster. But this time, since we have a little bit more of a budget at $15,000, we're going to include the same generation 911 Carrera. You can get a 300 horsepower, 6-speed manual transmission with the Porsche German beautiful manufacturing, amazing handling capabilities. It's amazing on the apex, it's amazing on the dig. It's all around one of the most perfect cars on this list. If you're simply wanting to get a car that's the best driver car on this list, I would probably get the C6 Corvette or this 911. Now, it's not the most pretty 911. You have the eggshell headlights, but you're getting Sally. You're getting Sally from Cars, guys. That is nothing to be ashamed of. Lightning McQueen glazed over Sally. Bro, straight up pick up Sally, get your 300 horsepower. And I know it's technically a rear engine, not a mid engine, but who freaking cares? All right, it's a Porsche. It's on the list. Suck it up, deal with it. If you don't like it, make your own. All right. Number, well, is there even a number? Number 16? Yeah, I guess we can make this one continuous series. Yeah, number 16. So this is a little bit of a cheat because this car has to be imported. And it's something that's called a K car. Now, if you've seen TikTok or Instagram at all in your life, you've probably seen a K truck, right? The little mid-engine tofu trucks that people have imported and modified the beans out of. They put Hayabusa engines in them. People have put jet engines on them. Shout out whistling. But I'm talking about the equivalent of sports cars. So they make K trucks, but they make K sports cars. So they're basically like midget cars, right? They're teeny, they're tiny. But this one is called the Mazda AZ1. It has gull wing doors. Gull wing doors, yeah. Like the DeLorean, yeah, but a Mazda. I wanted to include the DeLorean DMC 12 on this. That was originally on my mind because a couple years ago they were actually under 20K. Unfortunately, now they're the cheapest you can find is like 40K, but usually they're around 70. Anyway, the Mazda AZ1 has a cute 60 some horsepower, 5-speed manual transmission, mid engine design, and gull wing doors. It's probably the best Japanese K sports car. I actually almost bought a Honda Beat a couple years ago. I was this close. The only reason I didn't is when I got um, rejected from the college I applied to, which was a really prestigious college, and I got to like the final wave. It was like I had the max amount of scholarships. Well, I got accepted into the college, but I got dismissed from a specific program that I wanted into. So it's like the college wasn't hard to get into per se, but this program really was. And that program also added so much to it. So for simply for a bachelor's degree through that program, with the max amount of scholarships I had, which was something like 20, 30K a year, it would have cost me 120K out of pocket. And I straight up couldn't afford it, but I was still going to try if I did get in. which meant my car budget had to be a lot smaller. So all that is to say, I almost got a Honda Beat because they're like 5K after importing, like they're dirt. But the Mazda AZ1 is a bit more expensive. On the low end, you can find them for around 16K, with some negotiating. But you're not going to get it in the States for 16K because you have to import it, but I'm not including that, all right? You're just going to have to suck it up. Anyway, the Mazda AZ1 is a cute clown car, tiny, tiny amounts of horsepower, top speed 99 miles per hour. And yeah, super cool car, gullwing doors. Nothing else that's really cool about it or noteworthy, but hey, it's very, 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 very unique. And I wouldn't buy it, but I would appreciate anybody who did buy it. Next up at number 17 is, oh man. Okay. I love these cars. This brand is amazing. I am so happy they're still hanging in there because I kind of feel like they've just been struggling ever since their conception. And maybe that's just a misperception as an American. But anyway, I'm talking about Lotus. And this car, I'm specifically talking about the Lotus Esprit. I don't know if that's how you say it. Anyway, it's got a 2.2 liter turbocharged engine, making about 210 brake horsepower, and it's got a 5 speed manual transmission, and it's got about a top speed of 150. This car looks beautiful. I love British cars. For any of you that follow me on Instagram, you will know 100% that my dream car is a McLaren 720S, but I also love Lotuses. Lotuses are like the epitome of a driver's car. They solely exist to make fun cars for drivers that aren't obsessed with like clout. Um, there are some people I've seen that try to flex having a Lotus, but really it's just like a British Corvette. Anyway, and if you flex a Corvette, like if you have a C5, C6, C7, even a C8, bro, what are you doing? That's not a flex, all right? Sorry, that's for another video. But I love Lotuses. And the fact you can get a Lotus Esprit for 17K? Dude, are you kidding me? That's insane. A 5 speed manual British car, 210 horsepower, brake horsepower actually, and mid engine? Brother, that is insane. I don't know. If it was down to me, I would be getting this car and the next couple on the list if I had to choose. Next car on the list at number 18 is another Lotus. It's just as cool as the previous Lotus, but a little bit more retro. It's the Lotus Europa. And these have a 5 speed manual transmission as well, but they only make about 110 horsepower with a top speed of 115. And that's also the Lotus Europa with the engine built by Lotus. Now, the earlier versions had an engine that was built by Renault, and they made like 85 horsepower or something. They were terrible. Well, not terrible, but they just weren't as good. I mean, 110 horsepower is not a lot either, but come on, at least it's triple digits. Anyway, the Lotus Europa is it's like cherry wine. It's, oh, dude, I could lick that car. It is amazing. It's amazing. Both of these Lotuses are amazing, and I'm not gonna stop glazing them. When I found out that you could get these Lotuses at this price, I was fascinated. It's actually gonna probably be something I have to work for myself because I love Lotuses. And this is a really cool one. You can get a retro Lotus, the 5-speed manual, 110 horsepower, mid-engine layout, super unique. You're gonna probably be the only one in Kansas on the streets driving one. If you live in Kansas. If you don't live in Kansas, it's still gonna be unique. But yeah, both of these Lotuses, massive W's in my opinion. All right, at number 19, as we approach the end of our list, we have some of the most slept on cars. This is another Italian thoroughbred, but it's not a Fiat. It comes from a long, rich heritage of rally racing. Now, the rally racing, if you're a car enthusiast, probably gave it away. It is a Lancia. And when I found out you could get a Lancia for under 20K, I was dumbfounded. And it isn't even the cheapest Lancia option out there on the market. It is a mid-engine Lancia option. And it is, by God, one of the most beautiful cars for under 20K, especially a mid-engine car for under 20K, because Already having a mid-engine layout makes a car so much more expensive. Finding one that's beautiful and like collectible at this price range is just too good to be true. It's the Lancia Scorpion, and I think it is fine wine. I've never had wine because I'm under 21 and I would never do something illegal. FBI, I would never do something illegal at all, ever. Anyway, I've never done anything illegal, so I don't really know what that tastes like. But the Lancia Scorpion, I do know, is one of the most beautiful retro cars to exist, and it's a Lancia. Oh my gosh, guys. Lancia and Lotus. What is it with the L brands? Lancia, Lotus, Lamborghini, any car brand that starts with an L? Bro, prove me wrong. Absolute gold mine. Anyway, the Lancia Scorpion is not the most powerful car. It has a about 85 horsepower four-cylinder transmission that gives power to the rear wheels with a 5-speed transmission. However, you're not buying it for the speed. You're buying it as a resto mod. And this car, oh my, I can't get over it. You look like an Italian billionaire driving this car. I'm sorry, you do. And with just a few mods, you can make this car look like a modern masterpiece. And if you really want to add power and you're a true car guy, eventually down the road you can LS swap it. But that is not why you're watching this video. You're watching this video for cool cars that are stock cars under 20K. And the Lancia Scorpion is definitely one of them. The last car on this list is... I don't know if a beautiful is the word I would use for it. But unique and special? Definitely. It's a car that I didn't know existed before I started researching for this video. And so I can almost guarantee, unless you're from the UK, if you're from the States like me, like most of my viewers are, you definitely do not know that this car exists. It's the Renault Clio V6. Alright. So, there goes my apple, man. Anyway, what makes this car so much cooler than a regular Clio is it has a V6 mounted in the mid fashion. It's got a, I'm not sure, I think it has a 5-speed manual. I could be wrong, but this car looks like it took the wrong turn at an auto body manufacturer, got cut in half, and Lotus slapped a few race parts on it. We got the Renault Alpine Clio V6. What even is this? It looks like a soccer mom car that someone built on GTA. This is like the definition of what I would call a riced out car. If someone was to do this to a regular Clio, but the fact that a manufacturer did this and made a mid-engine Clio, that's just bad booty, man. Bad booty. Well, guys, I think I accidentally turned off my mic. By the way, this is Covenant from the future. But I think I accidentally turned off my mic while recording. So the rest of the audio, there's like 5 minutes left in the video, but it's probably just yap session anyway, like this is. So sorry about that, but we basically got through the list. This is 10 mid-engine cars, $11,000 through $20,000. Let me know what you guys think. I really tried hard to find cars that I don't think are talked about a lot. And let me know in the comments suggestions for future videos. And I am on a mission to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. I'll also force myself to be homeless until I hit that goal, or until 6 months go by, whatever comes first. But I'm not going to ask you to subscribe. Instead, I'm going to ask you to let me know how I can improve my content and improve my videos. I already know that this camera angle, looking back, was not the greatest. The lighting was pretty bad, and audio quality was just not there. This mic, I'm so sorry, guys. I got a new mic, and I'm getting some more mics. I really want to improve it as much as possible for you guys. But if you have anything else, I love you guys' feedback. And I appreciate you guys being critical, because I want to learn and make as strong a community as possible and make it feel like you guys can connect and understand without trying to like hurt yourself when I'm trying to say, because right now, I'm doing it right now. I just yap. I yap. But anyway, that's all I really wanted to say. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope, even if you don't feel like subscribing, that maybe you come back and watch another video, because I just picked up about $1,000 in camera gear, and I'm really excited for the future. If that doesn't interest you, though, that's all right. But I just hope you guys will stick around because I'm building a family and I hope you're part of it. I love you all and stay blessed. Goodbye.